Hello everyone and welcome to a new show called Brave Souls Utility Guide. I'm going to be taking every character you see on the screen right now and placing them in one of these categories. We got clear time, high damage, versus bosses, support, and crowd control, auto, and PvP. Now this isn't a tier list, it's not a top 10 list, it's not a ranking list or anything like that. I'm just taking the character and putting them where I think they excel at. In the future, I will be doing this with entire squads, such as Squad 11, or maybe even Espadas, like Espada 3 and everything that goes with them. But considering Ichigo doesn't belong to any particular affiliation, I figured I'd start with him. Plus, there's enough of him to make an entire episode about him. Some characters might fall under one of these categories, some might fall under more than one, some might fall under none, and if that's the case, I'll put them under orbs and links only, which means that they're only really useful for orbs, or in some cases, some are really good for links. But, you know, we'll just kind of have to go see where they place. Now, it's going to be a bit of a different video than I usually make because I'm not editing this only afterwards. I'm not really recording the audio separately, so it's going to feel a little bit different. So let me know what you think of that. I could always change that up. But with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Now, I'm aware that if their stats are high enough, any of these guys can auto. If their stats are high enough, any of them can deal a significant amount of damage. We're just going to cover the basis. This is primarily meant for people who are just now playing the game, or who left the game and are coming back, or even people who have the game, who've been playing the game for a while, and just, you know, want to know where these characters stand and what they're good for. So we're starting off with the Ultimate All-Rounder, the first Ichigo, the original OG. This guy, we're going to speed through some of these because this guy's not great. He's got a strong attack recharge link, and that's useful. His secondary link is a paralysis reduction link. It can be useful in some cases, but for the most part, his killer is a captain killer. He's got terrible range on his normal attack and his strong attacks, and they're just not good. So he's orbs only. We're going to place him right here. Alright, next up we have Tek Ichigo, the original Tek Ichigo. This one's a little special, because unless you actually played the game when Caleb was giving him out, you don't have him. And I don't think there's a way for you to get him at this point. If you have him because you played and you're coming back or whatever reason, he's not good. He doesn't even have a good link. The only thing he's good for is to collect, because it's one more character to have, and orbs. But that's it. So we're gonna place you right here next to your buddy. All right. Next up, we have the Visor Ichigo, a character that desperately needs to be remade. But you know, what are you gonna do? Now, in terms of Visor Ichigo and All-Rounder Ichigo, they're similar in that both have, you know, the same power attribute, both have very crappy killers. He has an Espada killer. His strong attacks do have better range, his stats are overall better, but he's also not a usable character. He does have a decent secondary link, it's stamina recovery, but his first link is strong attack damage, so that kind of, you know, balances itself out. It's useful in some cases, but only as a link. And I guess the character itself is useful in specific floors in Senkaimon, but there are definitely better options. So we're going to place you right here since you're only good for links as well. Next up, we have the Halloween version of Ichigo, who actually has the exact same link as the Visor version of Ichigo. Also has a strong attack damage link and gets a stamina recovery link when he gets resurrected. He does have a better killer. He does have Frenzy as well, but his range sucks. Overall, the character is only really good for link only. I'm going to place you right here as well. Next we have Frenzy Ichigo. Everyone should be able to attain this guy since we get a Frenzy ticket every month. The Frenzy characters are historically just link characters. He does have a normal attack damage link and a strong attack damage link. Doesn't have a resurrection type. I don't think he's ever going to get resurrected. I'm not going to say never because you never really know. But he's just a link. He was always just a link. He always was. Alright, next we have Full Hollow Ichigo, and here's where we start getting into the good stuff, because Full Hollow Ichigo has a really high attack, he's also got a decent SP for, you know, how old he is. His resurrected version has a normal attack damage link, and a last-ditch survival link of 80%, meaning that if he were to die, or if he's equipped as someone and they were to die, there's an 80% chance that they come back to life with 20% of their health. This is actually really good, and the character himself has a decent bruiser and a normal attack damage link, and a good killer. He's actually a decent character for autoing, so we're actually going to put him over here because whether you're autoing with him or you're using him as a link, he's a good character to auto with. Alright, next up we have Dangai Ichigo, and I really want this guy to be good. I really like this character's art design, I really like this character's strong attacks, but sadly the character himself is not good. He only has a 20% bruiser despite having a really high attack. He does have a 20% NAD link, but in the end that only gives him a 40% normal attack increase, and he has an Espada killer, which definitely doesn't help him. He does have good range on his strong attacks for an old character, and he does have a 50% Berserker, but he's just not really usable in anything right now. He's really only a useful link for his stats and his actual link, so we're going to place him over here as well. Sorry, buddy. I really wish you were better. Alright, next up we have the Fullbring version of Ichigo, or I guess the Lost Asian version of Ichigo. Everyone always calls him the Fullbring Ichigo, but it's just because it's the Fullbring arc. He's the Lost Asian version of Ichigo. He's got really good strong attacks. They have really good range, really quick to activate. He does have a strong attack damage link, so he can't really spam them as much as other characters with strong attack recharge link, but who knows? He's getting resurrected in about a month. They might give him that. Now, I am going to put this guy in the clear time because he can clear an event pretty quickly if you manually control him. Like I said, doesn't have that extra strong attack recharge link, but still he makes up for that with his plus 40 bruiser. He's really good at normal attack and he's really good strong attack, so we're going to put him in the clear time. Alright, and next up we have the second anniversary version of Ichigo, who recently got resurrected, and this guy is a beast. He's probably got the best upgrade out of anyone who ever got resurrected. He's got a strong attack recharge link for a secondary link, he got Berserker at 20 on top of his Frenzy, and he got Havoc at 20, which puts his strong attack 3, his charge move strong attack 3, it puts it at over full screen and it increases the damage output, which is insane. Now, clear time for him is actually not that great because he has to charge his strong attack 3, and his other strong attacks, while good, you kind of have to line him up. That said, he can deal a ridiculous amount of damage, which is why I'm putting him in the high damage area. But that's not all. He's also really good against bosses. I know he's not a boss killer because he doesn't have a burn damage or poison damage or even laceration, but he does have an extra flash step which makes him really good for dodging specials, and because of his strong attack 3, he can deal heavy amounts of damage for bosses. So I'm going to put him under the versus bosses as well, since he can take out bosses relatively easily. Next up, we have Tag Team Ichigo. And this character has grown on me. I started off not liking him because he was incredibly common and I pulled so many of them. But he's grown on me. He's a good character. He's got a really high SP, he's got Frenzy, he's got Havoc at 20, he's got a Vortex move strong attack 2, that granted doesn't make him the fastest character out there, does make him really good against bosses. Again, he doesn't have poison, he doesn't have burn, but he can trap bosses in vortexes and get away from their special before they're able to use them. I'm not going to put him under crowd control though because it really is just that one strong attack and it's mostly useful against bosses. I am, however, going to put him under autoing because if you have this character, you do know that he is actually a pretty good character to auto with despite having a really high SP. He's got a plus 30 bruiser, and his Vortex moves really comes in handy, and since he has 2 killers, Soul Reaper and a Rancor, he's really good against Inheritance that has both these enemies, so I am going to leave him there. Now next up we have the Movie 1 version of Ichigo, and what else can I say about this guy? He's just a really fast character. He has a high SP, Frenzy, Havoc, and a boosted strong attack recharge link. It's just a recipe for a really good character for clear time, honestly. He's just a fast character since you can spam his strong attack, so I'm going to put him right there. Next up we have the true Shikai version of Ichigo. First manga Ichigo we got, and a bit of a disappointment when it comes to his killer. He doesn't have a good killer. He's got an Espada killer. He does, however, have a really high attack, and he has flurry, and he has some crowd control moves. I'm not going to put him under crowd control for the simple reason that his moves don't actually, they're not beneficial for crowd control. They do kind of control the crowd, but they don't do any damage when doing it since this has low SP. He is going to be on auto though, because he's a good character to auto with. He is a little bit slower because of his killer, and the killer multiplication doesn't really apply to him, but he's still a good character to auto with, so I'm going to leave him there. Now next up we have the Movie 4 version of Ichigo, and this Ichigo has a really high attack. He's also got a Vortex move strong attack 2, a plus 50 bruiser, and the ability to inflict weakening on his strong attack 3 and his special. Now, he's good at autoing because of that high attack. He does attack a little bit slower than other Bankai Ichigo for his normal attack. I'm used to it being a lot swifter than his is. But, a high attack, a Vortex move, and a high bruiser, it's going to be a good character for autoing. I'm also going to say, and I kind of don't want to do this, but I mean it is kind of true, he is a decent character to go up against a boss. Because you can trap them in the Vortex, you can beat them while they're trapped in the Vortex, and you can weaken them with your strong attack 3 and your special to be able to deal more damage that way and avoid any special damage they might inflict. So I'm going to put him under versus bosses as well. I'm not going to put him under crowd control for the same reason I didn't put Tag Team Ichigo in there, but that's just me. Next up we have the Shikai Lost Asian version of Ichigo, one of my favorite Ichigos in the game, and a character with really fun strong attacks despite not having a really high SP. He does have a really high attack, really high bruiser, and a plus 25 NAD link. He's actually an excellent character to auto with, though a bit slow because he is ranged, but because he is ranged, he's actually a bit more reliable for autoing. He also has strong attacks that are really good for crowd control. Well, strong attack that is really good for crowd control. His strong attack 2 is a vortex move that pushes enemies back. And unlike the other one, I am going to say this one will earn a spot under support. Will earn a spot under support because of how good that attack is for actually controlling the crowd. And since he is ranged, he can get the most out of that. So I'm going to put him under crowd control as well. Now, next up we have the Bankai, true Bankai version of Ichigo. The manga round 4 version of Ichigo. This guy, probably one of my first 10-10-10 characters. He's a lot of fun to use. Sadly, not the fastest character out there because his strong attack 2 does take a long time to come back since it's a boost move strong attack 2. But it's a great support move because he has a strong attack recharge link, so I'm going to put him under support. I'm also going to drop him under autoing because that strong attack 2 boosts his attack as well. So then he has his attack that does a decent amount of damage, his strong attacks that do a decent amount of damage, and he's completely immune from being paralyzed and weakened. He's not the best autoing character, but he's a really good option when you're out of options. And he can actually do a fairly decent job, so I'm going to drop him right here. I'm going to run out of room in autoing. Did not think this through. Anyway, next up we have Quincy Ichigo, and I know a lot of people didn't like him. They didn't like his strong attacks. They thought they could have been a little bit better. I get the complaint. I don't feel that way. I quite like this character. He's by no means a fast character, but he is really good at inflicting weakening. He's got a high SP, he's got Frenzy, he's got a boosted strong attack recharge link, and his strong attacks 1 and 2 hit a ridiculous amount of times. His strong attack 1 pushes enemies so far back, and his strong attack 2 is really good for inflicting weakening. I'm honestly going to put this guy under Boss Killer because he can avoid... He's also got an extra sprinter, so he can avoid specials like that too, but his strong attack 1 is really good for avoiding enemies' specials, and his strong attack 2 is really good for inflicting the weakening. So we're going to put him under versus bosses. I'm also going to put him under crowd control because it's really easy to control the enemies with his first 2 strong attacks. And then I'm going to get rid of this extra one I have up here because I forgot to do that. Anyway, so next up is the 4th anniversary characters, and we're starting with the remake of Full Hollow. We desperately wanted a Full Hollow remake, we finally got one, and sadly, he's kind of a PvP character. He does have a really high attack, he does have flurry, he does have poise, but a lot of his abilities kind of tailored toward PvP, and so he is primarily a PvP character. He does also excel in autoing thanks to that high attack, flurry, and because of that lasted survival soul trait, but due to his poor killer, anything that multiplies killers, he's not going to benefit from that unless it's against a boss, so we're just going to have to, deal with that. Now before I continue, I didn't expect so many characters to be this good at autoing, so I'm going to go ahead and have to make a little quick edit, because we got a couple other characters that are going to go here, so I'm just going to do that. It is the first time I make this episode of the series, so, room for error, I guess. But next up we have Mugetsu Ichigo, one of my favorite characters in this game, and a character with a lot of stuff going for him. He's got a really high SP, he's got Frenzy, he's got 2 killers, he can inflict debilitating weakening on everything, all of his attacks are quick to activate, and they have really good range. So combine that with a strong attack recharge link and you have a really fast character. He's also got an extra sprinter, so that helps with speed, and it also lets him be really good against bosses, since he can dodge their specials, and he's able to inflict weakening on them. In addition to that, he's also got a stamina recovery ability, letting him recover 20% of his health every time he enters a new area, so he's also really good for autoing. So we're actually going to put him in 3 separate spots here. We're going to go for clear time because he's a fast character. We're going to go for versus bosses since he's really pretty good against bosses. And then we're also going to put him under, autoing since he can do that as well. I might have to squeeze the other one in there, but whatever. Alright, next up we have Fierce Battle Ichigo, the remake of the All-Rounder, and he definitely fits that, for sure. He's got a strong attack recharge link, he's got really powerful strong attacks, he's got a plus 40 Berserker and Frenzy, he's got really good range on the strong attacks, and when he uses a special, they all come back to him and they get a boost. So he can dish out a lot of damage. We're actually going to put him in the clear time since he can do everything relatively quickly, and we're going to put him under high damage. And under versus bosses, because you can hit a boss 6 times in a row if you use this character correctly. So we're going to put him here. There we go. Next up, we have the Desert Society version of Ichigo. Finally, another seasonal Ichigo. Now this guy has a really high attack. He's also got Bruiser at 20, Flurry, and can inflict debilitating burn on all of his attacks except for his strong attack 2, because it's a heal move. Now his normal attack is actually very special. Each of his attacks hits 4 times thanks to the Flurry, which means one normal attack string will hit an enemy 16 times. meaning he is extremely likely to inflict burn with his normal attack. Because of that, and because of his heal move, we're actually going to put him under versus bosses, since he can just burn them to a crisp. He's also a very good support character, so we're going to put him up here, and he's one of the best autoers, since he has a damage reduction soul trait and can heal any damage he takes. So we're going to put it right there, and just like maxing out the capacity of this area. Next up, we have the newest Ichigo, the 5th anniversary version. Now this Ichigo is kind of a lot. He's got a really high SP, he's got Frenzy, he's got Havoc at 20, he's got a strong attack recharge link, he's got Berserker at 60, which is ridiculous, he's got a strong attack 3 that's a charge move, he can inflict debilitating weakening on everything, he's got an extra sprinter, he's got Marauder, which is basically guard break to the extreme, and he's got an extra killer. This puts him under every single category with the exception of supporting crowd control and PvP. Since he's a really fast character thanks to the Havoc, the strong attack recharge link, the really high range, the Frenzy Berserker strong attack recharge Marauder sprinter combo would actually put him right here with clear time because, well, that's just fast. The high Berserker, Frenzy, and strong attack 3 that's a charge move will place him under high damage as well as boss killer. Plus he's got the weakening going for him, and everything combined would probably place him with autoing, plus the additional killer as well. They really knocked that out of the park with this Ichigo. Now finally we have the Senkaimon Ichigo. Now, okay, I will admit I didn't think this through. This guy kinda doesn't fall under any of these categories. If anything, you'd think he'd fall under clear time because he does have strong attack recharge links and everything else, but his actual attack speed is not that fast. Even his strong attacks, some of them take a bit longer than you might think. I am still going to put it under clear time because compared to some of these other characters, he is faster, but I'm also kind of going to put him under Orbs and Link only because he's primarily a Link and that's probably all you want to use him for. So it's probably the only time I'm going to do this, but I will say that's probably where he falls under. But with that said, that's the first episode of this. Let me know what you guys think. I know it's a little scrappy when it comes to the whole autoing thing. I had to shrink some characters down to kind of fit them in there. But yeah, I thought this would be a fun little experiment to do because there's kind of a lot of, a lot of characters, a lot of options you have with a lot of these characters. And I know some people, I've certainly received a lot of questions of, oh, I got this character. Is he still good? What is he good for? What's a good character to take out this? Or what's a good fast character? So hopefully this helps out a little bit. Like I said, in the future, I'll be doing this based on squads or espadas. For example, you might see the entirety of Squad 11, which would be Yachiru, Kenny, Ikaku, Yumichika. All of them would be under this. There's just a ton of Ichigo, so I figured I'd go ahead and do a one-off from him for my first episode. You'll also see stuff like Tesla and Noitora because they're Spada number 5. And so some of these might be shorter, some of these might be longer. Either way, let me know what you think of this. I've definitely got better at editing this, so sorry for the what it is right now. But let me know what you think of this series. I hope you guys like it. Take care.